So, hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about living things and non-living things. So, what are living things? Living things are organisms that have certain characteristics such as growth, reproduction, and response to stimuli. They need energy to carry out this process and have complex structure. For example, human beings, animals, plants. These are the examples of living things. Non-living things do not have these characteristics. They do not grow, they do not reproduce and respond to stimuli. They cannot be natural and they can be man-made. So non-living things are of two type, that is man-made and natural. Living things can reproduce. So, characteristics of living things. Living things has many characteristics. One of the characteristics is reproduction. Living thing can reproduce to create offsprings. For instance, animal give birth to young ones and plant produce seeds. So, and in response to stimuli, living things respond to environmental changes. For instance, plants grow toward lights. Yes, so these are something which is respond to living things. The size of living things changes as the time goes. So, the size of living things changes as the time goes. They grow, they take energy from the food, and they grow. So, there are some characteristics of living things. Let us discuss one by one. First is growth. Living things grow and develop. For example, a plant grow from a seed into a full growth plant. Reproduction. Living thing can reproduce to create a offspring. For instance, animal give birth to young one and plant produce seeds. Respond to stimuli. Living things respond to environmental changes. For instance, plants grow toward lights. Metabolism. Living things undergo various metabolic processes to obtain and use energies. For example, animal eat food while plant perform photosynthesis. So these are something related to living things. Now, non-living things. Non-living things are man-made as well as natural. So non-living things do not grow. Non-living things do not grow and develop. For example, a rock remains the same size unless acted upon the external forces. If we if we produce force, if we produce pressure on the rock, it will break down into pieces, but it will not reproduce. No reproduction. Non-living things do not reproduce or create offsprings. For example, a chair cannot create another chair. Yes, is it? A chair can reproduce? No, a chair can't reproduce. So, no response to stimuli. Non-living things do not respond to environmental change. For example, a book does not react to change in a light or a temperature. Yes, if you kept a book in a very high temperature, it doesn't change anything. A book remains a book. So it doesn't affect the book whether temperature high or whether a temperature is low. So no metabolism. Non-living things do not have metabolic process. For example, a table does not consume energy or perform chemical reactions. So next example and activities. Natural non-living things that already present in nature. For example, rock, heat, soil, water. These are that already present in nature and they are non-living things. They don't grow, they don't reproduce. So these are non-living things. So these are non-living things that are made by human beings for their necessities. So ball, children play with ball, car, human use car for the travel. So something that are used for human being are made up by man-made non-living things. So next, properties of non-living thing. They do not grow and change. They do not need food, water, air to survive. They do not make new things like themselves, same as they do not reproduce. For example, house, pencil, these are something non-living thing. Difference between living things and non-living things. Living things show movement of the parts of the body. They grow, They reproduce, they can feel, they respire, they excrete waste material, they need food. And non-living things never move on their own efforts. They do not show any growth, they do not reproduce, they cannot feel, they do not respire, they do not excrete any waste material, they do not need food. So these are some differences between living things and non-living things. So here is some brief about living thing and non-living things. Conclusion is, the main point about living thing and non-living thing, emphasizing the characteristics that define each, encouraging students to observe their surrounding and apply what they have learned.